I'm Stella and welcome to my channel 30 Books, and as part of Port Fairy Literary Festival for 2021 here at Blarney Books and Art, I am speaking with Nicole Kelly.
It is Nicole Kelly, I know, and I've written a book about Ned Kelly, it's amazing.
I'm speaking with Nicole Kelly about her book, Show the Book. It's called Lament. Now, Nicole, 2-second pitch. What's your book about?
So it's the what if. So Ned Kelly, 141 years tomorrow. The what if. What if the siege had gone ahead? What if they'd ripped up the tracks, the train had derailed? Where would Ned have gone next?
Any relation? You've got
no.
to be.
No relation. I married a Kelly.
Ah, and
I married a Kelly. But there's no relation. I've scoured through. No Kelly. No Ned Kelly.
So a what if? Is this seen as fiction?
Well, we're calling it faction. So I'm a history nerd at heart, and so there was a whole lot of facts in this book weaved around fiction as well. You know, great facts like the beautiful red gussied up dress that Anne Jones wore at the siege. That really happened. You know, the great sort of innuendos of did Dan actually escape the siege? The myths, the rumours, that sort of thing.
So when you say you're a history nerd, is it Australian history or history in general?
History in general for me. I love historical fiction, love writing historical fiction, love reading historical fiction. So that's, history in all its elements.
So here's a good question then. What's your favourite, or one of your favourites, or maybe the important historical fiction book that you loved that possibly inspired your book Lament?
Oh, I don't know about inspiration because I started writing this 7 years ago, which was well before I read this author, but Hannah Kent and her beautiful historical fiction writing is an absolute favourite, and I think there's a new one coming out in October, which I'm totally excited about.
How long have you been a writer for?
7 years since I started writing this. No.
How long did you want to be a writer
I've started calling myself a writer. I've started calling myself a writer since this was released in October 2020 via Zoom.
Oh.
So now I can call myself a writer/teacher.
Was it a bit gut-wrenching having to do, after all that time, and then you do a launch and it's via Zoom? Were you okay?
Yes, I was thrilled because it's all I know. It's completely normal. I'm going to launch my next one on Zoom as well, just for the fun of it.
And what is your next one?
Well, I'm halfway through a draft, so first draft only, of another historical fiction based on the soldier settlers that came back from World War I into our rural Victoria, on the river.
So are you a regional person? Are you near Port Fairy?
Not near Port Fairy, near Ballarat. Definitely rural, regional, lived in the country my whole life. My Twitter handle is @ruralvicwriter. So I love sort of, rural stories.
So is this your first festival since your book was launched and we're allowed out?
Yes, it was so exciting. Yeah. And being able to share the stage with Jock Sarong and Michelle Scott Tucker was amazing. So yes, really good.
So it was a good experience for you all around.
Yes.
Now, what question would you like me to ask?
Oh, I would like you to ask, what will you do to make sure it doesn't take you 7 years to write the next book?
No, I tell you what I am going to ask. How's the response been for the book? Are you happy with it?
Yes. People have been really kind. I was terrified about people actually reading the book after you've written it. And my husband said, don't worry, no one's going to tell you hate it to your face. And that reassured me. But people have been really kind. I got to meet some Kelly relatives, some Hart relatives, and they have been nothing but beautiful about this story. So it's great.
Do you feel like you like Ned Kelly, or you got to understand him a little bit more through the what if?
Yeah, I do. I feel like my Ned is the true Ned, which I've now watched Ned Kelly back with Heath Ledger, and I had to turn it off halfway through, even though I did previously love the movie, because he's not my Ned. My Ned wouldn't have done that, so yes.
Now the question, what are you going, 7 years for a first book is actually not that long.
I know, it felt long.
But what are you going to do to ensure that your first book doesn't take 7 years, but is equally as good as your first book?
Yes, I am going to get beta readers done more quickly so that I can get all that great feedback, and I'm going to make sure that my house stays messy, so I'm writing more often.
Oh, I know, it's a trap, isn't it? Nicole Kelly, author of Lament. The name, the story you don't. Yes. A book about fictionalised, factual book about Ned Kelly. Nicole, thank you for coming on my channel.
Thanks so much for having me, Stella. It's lovely to be here.
Okay.